Hi and welcome to Content and Coffee, where we talk about the latest buzz in content and drink coffee with creatives. And today I have Mike from MB Sites with me. Hi Mike.
Hi Nikki.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Good to see you. I've been trying to get Mike in front of a camera for about 2 years, so I feel like I'm winning right now.
You are indeed, yes.
Yeah, and he was slightly forced into it, but it's good to have you here today.
It's great to be here, I think, yes. Lovely coffee.
So Mike is part of the Content Hive. He is a web developer, and I have been working with Mike since launching Big Bee Content in 2020 pretty much. We worked together from very early doors on a charity website, didn't we?
That's right, yeah, butterfly charity.
The Butterfly Charity, yeah, with Shahida. So that was a great project to work on.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It was great fun. It was the first time we worked together, so that was the first time I had to deal with your wireframes.
Yeah, I was laughing because Mike is a big fan of my terrible Canva wireframes that I like to do. As a copywriter and content designer, I always like to do wireframes to show the flow of the content. And but because it's a lot faster, I do it in Canva sometimes, not always. Yeah. But Mike is a master at translating my Canva wireframes into real life designs. So
I like it. I take it always as a bit of a challenge, because when I'm working without your wireframes, I can kind of do whatever I want. I can put things whenever I feel they look the best or it's the easiest to put them. But when I have to work with your wireframe, I have to work out how the hell am I going to do what you wanted me to do. So it takes me out of my comfort zone and makes me think. And it's great for learning different ways to skin the cat.
Yeah, and that's to skin the cat. And that's exactly what it is though, right? So you can have a flat design on Canva, but it doesn't necessarily translate to a real life website where you're scrolling, where there's activity that needs to take place on it, like buttons, etc., etc. So it is a bit of a challenge, and I appreciate that. But
it can be, yeah. But I enjoy it nonetheless.
I think the results are always really good. So so far. One of the other projects that we worked on together was the male fertility section on the Whole Fertility website, which was a really interesting project, wasn't it?
It was. I've learned so much about sperm.
Yeah, we learned a lot about sperm, and we can say that because it's medical.
Yes.
But it was a really interesting project because it involved quite a lot of user research as well. And so we were able to speak to men who were going through the male fertility journey. And really, when we started working with Ian, who is, he provides acupuncture and different well-being services to people going through the fertility journey. But a couple of years ago, me and him met in a vineyard cafe, had a little coffee together, and he told me about his dream was really to focus way more on the male fertility aspect, because they are very much an underserved population when it comes to talking about fertility. Often they're kind of ignored and sidelined in the whole process and not even tested for anything, right? And so he had this whole dream that he wanted to create a website around male fertility, and he wanted to focus more on that and do campaigning. And so that's how we got more involved in that, although you'd already designed his original website.
Yes, but that was just the website, really. Yeah. What we kind of put together later on was more of a platform. And the one thing I really like about it is that Ian actually gives away quite a lot of information, so people can actually learn a little bit for free before they even decide to pay him.
And that's so much what it is about, right? So there's so many benefits to doing that. There is obviously the benefit in helping people, right? That's number one.
Yeah.
And that's something that I take really seriously. It's really what drives me and why I do what I do. But there's also the benefit that actually demonstrates his expertise. And then there's the Google aspect too, and all the search engines, because as soon as you start providing that really useful content, that serves the very specific audience, then Google loves it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, I always tell my clients there's no point having a blog if you've got nothing interesting to say, because if nobody's going to read it, what is the point? So blog posts have to give away some information, have to educate so people actually want to read it, spend time on the website, and actually read more than just one post, for example, and actually take something from it. So Google does look at the user behavior, how much, not just how long people spend on a page, but also how far down the page they scroll, how many pages they view per session, and that basically helps Google determine how high you should rank.
Yeah, great. And we've talked about Google quite a bit, but how much do you think the other search engines come into it now as well? Because there's quite a drive towards data privacy and things like that.
Yeah, but when it comes to the data privacy, then there isn't really a whole lot you can do in terms of marketing. That's where Google is so powerful. You've got your Google AdSense, or I think it's called Google Ads now. Whereas you're not gonna do that on DuckDuckGo, which is privacy oriented. But in terms of sort of like a basic SEO, I always submit the website not only to Google but also Bing. Because that's the other big search engine. And the main reason why I do it is because, say, older generation, when they buy a laptop, it comes pre-installed with Bing. So chances are that's what they're gonna use instead of downloading Google Chrome. So I never leave out Bing.
That's a very interesting fact that I hadn't considered before. So thank you, Mike. You've educated me.
There you go.
Excellent. What are some of the other things that people come to you with when they ask you to design a website? Some things that are maybe misconceptions that you can educate people on.
That's a cut.
And that's a cut.
That's a cut. I don't know.
Move on to another question.
Misconceptions. Sometimes people tend to think that as a web designer, I have to do the things like link building and that sort of thing, that sort of more advanced SEO, which isn't really the case. Google Ads, they tend to ask me for the Google Ads, which is part of SEO, but I don't do that.
Well, SEO is like an ever-evolving beast anyway, isn't it? It changes so regularly with every Google algorithm update, for example.
Yeah, but I think sometimes people tend to overcomplicate it or overthink. At the end of the day, Google's job, and not just Google's job, but search engine's job is to find the most relevant information and fetch it and serve it to the user. So if the user gets exactly what they're looking for, then the search engine's done its job. So instead of overthinking what can I do, if your business justifies regular blogging, then do regular blogging. But make sure that you actually give away a little bit of information so people can actually read from it. So you actually engage your users, and then they come back, they share your message, your blog post. So I think sometimes people just think too much about it.
Yeah. So I always think when I think about your skills, because we had to do this earlier where we were doing some filming for Content Hive and had to think about what you bring to the Hive and what some of your skills are. You found it hard to kind of say, and look at yourself and come up with some positives. But I always think of you as someone who's very detail focused, as someone who is a really good problem solver, and dare I say a little bit obsessive.
Yes, yeah, obsessively obsessive. But it can be annoying to certain people if somebody's being obsessive, but I think it's got lots of benefits as well, because then it actually helps me deliver a product that is of high quality rather than just sort of something half-baked. I always say go hard or go home. So if I can't go fully on and sort of dedicate and spend my time and actually be happy with the finished product, there's no point doing it, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something this is just an intrinsic part of you as well, isn't it? It's something that you carry into your home life as well. And, when you focus on something, you really focus on it, don't you?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it takes things to near obsession sometimes, really.
Give us some examples, Mike.
Well, one example is working out, lifting weights. I used to train as a powerlifter in my teens, then I destroyed my knees, so I stopped for years. Then I started again, stopped when my little one was born because I didn't have the time. And then about a couple of years ago, I started working out again, and it started as, 3 days a week, half an hour. And now I'm doing 7 days a week, hour and a half each time, and I can't get enough. But it's sort of, it's the obsession which takes it to other aspects of my life, which is like the food. So I haven't cooked food that's been cooked for me in the last 2 years probably, because I cook everything myself, because I actually measure everything, down to single grams.
Yeah, and he was talking about making coffee earlier as well.
Coffee, yeah, you gotta do it properly, otherwise what's the point?
I know, right? And I'm running content in coffee and I can't make a decent coffee.
I'll teach you how to make a good coffee.
Thanks. Well, I've no doubt that you're going to teach us lots going forwards with the Content Hive.
Hopefully more than just coffee.
More than just coffee. You're a great educator. What are you most looking forward to from the Content Hive?
I'm looking forward to working with like-minded people, and trying to steal some of the energy and inspiration. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Just working in a group as opposed to being on my own all the time, which, it can get sort of difficult to find inspiration when you just staring at the screen all day long. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Definitely. We've definitely found that when we work together, we kind of elevate each other, don't we? Yeah. Push each other a little bit further.
And it's nice to sort of bounce ideas with each other. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time. It's been great chatting with you. Well done for coming on today.
Thanks.
Awesome. So that has been Mike Bosnovic of MB Sites. And if you would like to hear more about the Content Hive and what we're up to, go to our YouTube channel or check out bigbeecontent.com.